A very warm good morning to all of you. It's a beautiful Monday morning and we're back once again with a fresh edition of Breakfast News. I'm Preeti. With me is Rukma. In the next 1 hour, we'll get you through everything that's making it to the headlines. We'll get you national headlines. We'll get you international updates. We'll get you updates from the world of sports, business, a web review as well. And when we talk of a new week beginning, a new day beginning ahead, let's pick up this beautiful thought by Buddha. He says, what you think you become, what you feel you attract, and what you imagine you create. So there's positivity, there's optimism, and this positivity and optimism has to be taken forward for you to succeed in every phase of life and other aspects as well, isn't it?
Very true, Preeti, and as Preeti has just said, it's all in the mind. It's all about you and what you take into the world as you set out for your work days, as you set out for your homework, everything that happens and as the day goes by. We'll be taking you through all the top stories making headlines across India and the world over the next 1 hour in Breakfast News. As always, it's a beautiful Monday morning. So let's begin with the headlines now.
Centre and farmers meet again this afternoon to resolve farm law issues. The last round of talks saw government on 2 issues. The other 2 issues are now set to be taken up for resolution. Government expresses hope for the talks to be successful.
DCGI grants emergency use approval for 2 vaccines to combat COVID-19 pandemic in the country. Authorization for Covishield and Covaxin after expert panel's recommendation. Covishield being made by Serum Institute and homegrown Covaxin developed by Bharat Biotech along with ICMR and NIV Pune.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi terms the clearance to 2 vaccines as a decisive moment, strengthening India's hand in a key battle, expresses gratitude towards hardworking scientists and innovators, and congratulates the nation. Terms indigenous vaccine a major step in the direction of Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Prime Minister Modi will deliver inaugural address at National Metrology Conference through video link this morning. Will also dedicate National Atomic Timescale and Bharatiya Nirdeshak Dravya to the nation, apart from laying foundation stone for National Environmental Standards Laboratory.
Death toll in Muradnagar roof collapse at a cremation incident goes over 20. President, Prime Minister and Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister expressed grief. Probe announced into the incident.
Government of Bihar decides to reopen educational institutions including schools and colleges from today. Bihar Education Department issues list of COVID-19 safety guidelines for reopening of schools and colleges in the state.
And heavy rains lashed Delhi NCR, making the going difficult for commuters in several parts. Minimum temperature goes up in most of North India, but maximum stays low. More rain forecast by Met Department over the next 3 days in several parts of North India.
Over 100 people killed in attacks on 2 villages in western Niger. Prime Minister of Nigeria, Brigi Rafini, confirms in a broadcast no one has claimed responsibility for the gruesome killings. And so we take a look at how the farmer talks are going to pan out in the day.
Yes.
Also, lots of news about the Prime Minister's program and agenda and much more.
Let's get you first the updates on the farmers' issue. The next round of talks between the centre and the farmer unions will be held in New Delhi today. Earlier, talks between the government and the farmer unions were held on 30th of December. During the meeting, Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar had assured the farmer leaders that government is committed to solve their problems and both sides need to take steps forward to arrive at an amicable solution. The centre had assured the farmer unions that MSP and the Mandi system will continue like before. The centre is hopeful that the talks will be fruitful.
किसान जो आंदोलन पर बैठे हैं उनसे वार्ता हमारी चल रही है और निश्चित रूप से हम आशावान हैं कल हमारी वार्ता होगी उसके अंदर निश्चित रूप से एक सकारात्मक परिणाम होगा और जैसा कि हमारी पीछे जो 7 दौर की बैठक हुई है बिल्कुल सकारात्मक और सौहार्दपूर्ण वातावरण के अंदर हुई है और कल भी होंगे, लेकिन ये कांग्रेस या आप या जो कम्युनिस्ट है वो इस घी में आग डालने का, आग में घी झोंकने का काम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन उनको सफलता किसी सूरत में नहीं मिलेगी, क्योंकि देश का किसान इस बात को भली भांति समझ चुका है।
Also, many farmers across the country are coming in support for the new farm laws. Farmers from Sangrur and Hoshiarpur in Punjab are also voicing their support for the new farm laws, saying the laws will benefit them.
मेरा नाम गुरसेवक सिंह है और मैं पंजाब से संगरूर डिस्ट्रिक्ट से हूँ और मेरा गांव थलेस है। जहाँ तक मेरे को इन बिलों से समझ आता है, ये सारे बिल किसान के हक में हैं। इससे बाज़ार खुल जाएगा, बाज़ार खुलेगा तो उससे आने वाले टाइम में प्राइस ज़्यादा मिलने की भी संभावना रहेगी, बनी रहेगी। तो किसानों को जो आमदन है उसकी बढ़ने के बहुत सारे विकल्प बने रहेंगे।
मेरा नाम ओंकार सिंह है और मैं पिंड चिंगड़ कलां ਜ਼ਿਲ੍ਹਾ ਹੁਸ਼ਿਆਰਪੁਰ ਤੋਂ ਬਿਲੋਂਗ ਕਰਦਾ। ਸਾਡਾ ਪਿੱਛੋਂ ਖੇਤੀਬਾੜੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਇਹ ਮੋਦੀ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ 3 ਬਿੱਲ ਆਏ ਆ ਉਹਦੀ ਸਟੱਡੀ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਫਾਇਦੇਮੰਦ ਹੈ। ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦੀ ਪਾਲਿਸੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਆਮਦਨ ਦੁੱਗਣੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਵੇ, ਇਸ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਅਗਰ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਫਸਲ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਖੁੱਲੀ ਮੰਡੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੇਚੇਗਾ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਆਮਦਨ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਦੁੱਗਣੇ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੋਣ ਦੀ ਸੰਭਾਵਨਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਯਕੀਨ ਕਰਿਆ ਜਾਵੇ।
And Abhishek now joins us with more on the next round of farmer talks. Abhishek, many more and more farmers, even farmer organizations expressing their support for the farm laws. But on the ground, tell us more about the situation. What is the mood? What is the atmosphere? And what is how the day is likely to pan out?
So, Rukma, we have seen that the last round of talks that was between the government representative that was led by Agriculture Minister Narendra Modi and the Farmers Union, Agitating Farmers Union. That was quite cordial and quite positive on that note. And today, on the 4th of January, the second round of talk is going to happen. And we can hope that those cordialness that was in the last talk could continue today also, and some positive movement can happen on this whole farmer agitation and demonstration thing. Meanwhile, we have seen that there have been support in favor of government policies from various sections of farmers from across the country. We have seen recently how many representatives of farmers unions from various parts of UP, Bihar, MP and other parts of the country also. We have also seen some group of academicians, group of bureaucrats and other senior or eminent member of societies also expressing their support in favor of those farm bills. So overall, there has been some discontent over also because the kind of agitation that those farmers are creating, they are also creating some sort of trouble for the normal day-to-day life for those people living around those areas. So there is no doubt that farmers agitation is continuing with over a month's time. Meanwhile, there are other sections of society also which are also coming out in full support of government's policies on these farm laws.
All right, Abhishek, you were talking of the positivity and you were talking of, the way the issue started in the beginning. There was a lot of distrust, as you also mentioned, there was a lot of chaos and confusion as well. But over the meetings which the government has had with these farmer unions, the government has tried to clear the air, the doubts, the myths of the farmers. And moreover, in the recent past, we've seen various farmer organizations from different parts of the country are also coming out in support of these farm laws. You've been covering this. I would want you to, also elaborate as to what is your understanding of, what is the way forward from here on? Because the government time again has been saying that they're ready for talks, they're ready to clear any doubts or any myths. But at the same time, the farmer unions are adamant, and at the same time, the government circles are also saying that it is the issue is being politicized. So put all this together, what is your understanding of where is this whole matter heading to?
So Preeti, during very early days when this farm law bill was proposed, I had an opportunity to travel to Haryana where BJP Chief Minister, BJP Party President Narendra Modi was doing one rally or one congregation where so many farmers from across Haryana were there, and they were expressing their point of view, what this bill was all about and what are the problems those farmer community has been facing so far, and how this bill is going to ease their life. So during those conversations, I could gather that while the bill was already enacted, the law was already very much in practice, still the large community of farmers needed more awareness, and they had certain apprehension about the bill because see, there has been a traditional setup of farmer, their procurement, their produce being sold to a particular mandi, and all those mechanisms. That mechanism was going to be broken now. So the farmer community needed some more awarenesses or maybe some more discussion also. So that was one part where government has realized, and we have seen in the recent talks also, even Prime Minister or various ministers, even ministers of the government has also expressed that there has been some lacking from the government part on reaching out to farmers, and they could not tell farmers properly about the benefits of farm law. And there is what opposition or other party or maybe the corporates or those arhatiyas who are not in favor of these farm laws, because that will create some trouble to their middle income that they create through the procurement of farmers produce and being sold it through mandi. So this whole mechanism of arhatiya and those corporates, they are also not very happy about this bill, and they are trying to encash those discontentment or unawareness among the farmers from on these farm laws, and trying to create this whole this demonstration or agitation thing in favor of their own interest. And that is what government is slowly trying to understand farmers' point of view and trying to tell them why this farm bill was necessary and why this farm bill is actually going to ease their life, is going to empower them economically, is going to give them more rights over their own produce, and it is also not going to let them have any in any manner they will never have to lose the ownership on their farmland, even if they are doing some contract farming or some agreement farming. They are never going to be not the owner of their own land, and there is no way that corporates are going to
take over,
take their lands. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Thank you so much, Abhishek, for joining us with those inputs. We'll come back to you again during the day once the meeting begins. So that was our correspondent Abhishek Jha evaluating the issue and also putting forth how could we expect the day to pan out ahead, even as we tell you that today the farmer unions and the government will again hold a meeting.
Exactly, Preeti. And as you were saying, there's a positivity in the air, even on the much talked about news that has carried on from 2020 to 2021. COVID-19, that is, and the war against the pandemic enters a new stage, a positive stage. Drugs Controller General of India, DCGI, has given approval for restricted use in emergency situation of 2 COVID-19 vaccines, Serum Institute of India's Covishield and Bharat Biotech's Covaxin. Drug Controller General of India, V.G. Somani, said both firms submitted data on their trial runs and both have been granted permission for restricted use. Both vaccines have to be administered in 2 doses and be stored at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. The vaccine approval has been welcomed throughout the country and the world. Even Prime Minister Modi has termed the Serum Institute of India and Bharat Biotech vaccines as a decisive turning point to strengthen a spirited fight against corona. PM Modi said that this shows eagerness of a scientific community to fulfill the dream of an Atmanirbhar Bharat, at the root of which lies care and compassion. He said that the grant of approval by DCGI to the vaccines accelerates the road to a healthier and COVID-free nation. Healthcare professionals have also welcomed the announcement but cautioned people that even after the vaccine, COVID-appropriate protocols are necessary for some time.
And up next, we'll take a look at the COVID-19 updates from across the country. India's trajectory of active cases continues to follow a steadily dipping path. The total active caseload has dropped below 2.5 lakh today. This has been made possible by trend of recoveries exceeding new cases and low number of fatalities per day, which have ensured a total net reduction of the active caseload. India's present active caseload consists of just 2.39% of India's total positive cases. The new recoveries of 20,923 in the last 24 hours have led to a net decline of 2,963 in the total active cases. The daily new recoveries recorded in the country have been more than the daily cases registered since the last 37 days. The number of daily new cases in the last 24 hours is 18,177, while 20,923 cases recovered and were discharged during the same duration. The rising recoveries have also improved the recovery rate to 96.16%. Today, the total recovered cases stand at 99,27,310. The gap between recovered cases and active cases is increasing and presently stands at 96,80,090.
And here are some frequently asked questions on COVID-19 vaccine. First of all, the question most common, is it necessary for a COVID recovered person to take the vaccine? The answer is yes, it is advisable to receive complete schedule of COVID vaccine irrespective of past history of infection with COVID-19. This will help in developing a strong immune response against the disease. Next question. Can a person presently having COVID-19 confirmed or suspected infection be vaccinated? The answer is, a person with confirmed or suspected COVID-19 infection may increase the risk of spreading the same to others at the vaccination site, and because of this, infected individuals should defer vaccination for 14 days after symptoms resolution. Next question, out of the multiple vaccines available, how is one or more vaccine chosen for administration? The answer is the safety and efficacy data from clinical trials of vaccine candidates are examined by the drug regulator of our country before granting the license for the same. Hence, all the COVID-19 vaccines that receive license will have comparable safety and efficacy. However, it must be ensured that the entire schedule of vaccination is completed by only one type of vaccine, as different COVID-19 vaccines are not interchangeable. Next question, does India have the capacity to store the COVID vaccine of 2 to 8 degrees Celsius and transport them at required temperature? The answer is, India runs one of the largest immunization programs in the world, catering to the vaccination needs of more than 26 million newborns and 29 million pregnant women. The program mechanisms are being strengthened and geared up to effectively cater to the country's large and diverse population.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will today deliver the inaugural address at the National Metrology Conference through video link. He will also dedicate the National Atomic Timescale and Bharatiya Nirdeshak Dravya to the nation, apart from laying the foundation stone for National Environmental Standards Laboratory.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will deliver the inaugural address at the National Metrology Conclave on the 4th of January 2021 via video conferencing. He will also dedicate the National Atomic Timescale and the Bharatiya Nirdeshak Dravya to the nation and lay the foundation stone of the National Environmental Standards Laboratory. Union Minister Dr. Harshvardhan will also be present on the occasion.
Honorable Prime Minister तीन चीज़ों का उद्घाटन करेंगे. एक तो जो नेशनल फिजिकल लैबोरेटरी ने जो 2.8 नैनोसेकंड की इंडियन स्टैंडर्ड टाइम क्रिएट किया हुआ है, जनरेट किया हुआ है, उस एटॉमिक क्लॉक इंसेंबल का उद्घाटन करेंगे और देश को समर्पित करेंगे. और ये जो 2.8 नैनोसेकंड की जो एक्यूरेट इंडियन स्टैंडर्ड टाइम हमारे पास में, ये हम इसरो को देते हैं और इसरो जो है हमारे नाविक सैटेलाइट को देते हैं. और उससे जो हमारी अपना जो देसी जीपीएस है उसकी क्वालिटी जो अमेरिकन जीपीएस से उससे बहुत अच्छी है.
The National Atomic Timescale generates Indian Standard Time with an accuracy of 2.8 nanosecond. Bharatiya Nirdeshak Dravya is supporting testing and calibration of laboratories for quality assurance at par with international standards. The National Environmental Standards Laboratory will aid self-reliance in the certification of ambient air and industrial emission monitoring equipment.
भारतीय निर्देशक द्रव्य BND है, वो NPL का अपना हुआ बनाया हुआ इंडियन सर्टिफाइड रेफरेंस मटेरियल है और ये यूज होता है हर एक सेक्टर में. तो जैसे हमारे इन्वायरमेंट में पोल्यूशन मेजर करना है, तो आज के दिन में हम क्या करते हैं कि बाहर से इंपोर्टेड इक्विपमेंट मंगाते हैं और आपने कई बार देखा भी होगा कि वो अलग अलग रीडिंग देते हैं. तो अलग अलग रीडिंग इसलिए देते हैं क्योंकि वो कैलिब्रेटेड नहीं है. तो जब ये लेबोरेटरी बन जाएगी और इंडिया का अपना सर्टिफिकेशन स्कीम होगा जिसका नाम है नेशनल फिजिकल लेबोरेटरी ऑफ इंडिया सर्टिफिकेशन स्कीम ऑफ एम्बिएंट एयर एंड इंडस्ट्रियल इमिशन मॉनिटरिंग इक्विपमेंट्स.
National Metrology Conclave 2021 is being organized by the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, National Physical Laboratory, CSIR NPL, New Delhi, which is entering into the 75th year of its inception. The theme of the conclave is Metrology for Inclusive Growth of the Nation, DD India.
So, Prime Minister to be addressing the nation once again today in his inaugural address as he inaugurates these mega projects, lays the foundation stone for one of them, and we'll be telecasting his address live. So, do be sure to tune in at 11 a.m.
All right, to know more about these programs, our correspondent Arun Sharma is joining us. Arun, good morning to you. When we talk of Prime Minister's engagements today, we've told our viewers that he will be giving the inaugural address at the National Metrology Conference, and added to that, he will be dedicating National Atomic Time Scale and Bharatiya Nirdeshak Dravya to the nation, apart from laying foundation stone for National Environmental Standards Laboratory. Now, I want you to explain to us in layman's terms, for the benefit of our viewers, you know, how are these labs and how are these this infrastructure important and relevant to the common person like you and me?
Good morning, Preeti and Rukma, and indeed it's an important day as far as CSIR NPL is concerned, and of course for entire humanity, because these are very important laboratories that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to dedicate today. We know this fact that CSIR NPL is entering its 75th anniversary. You can say that it's a 75th foundation day of CSIR NPL. So when we talk about the Indian time scale, or primarily the atomic time scale that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to dedicate today, it generates the Indian Standard Time. Now we should understand this fact that it is one more feather in the cap as far as India's Atmanirbhar Bharat is concerned, because the kind of precision this Indian Standard Time that will be generated with this, the time scale is of 2.8 nanoseconds. So this is the precision and the calibration is very much precise in nature. That is very much accurate in nature. Now we know this fact that in India, the Indian Standard Time is one. There is only one Indian Standard Time. But at the when we talk about entire India, at a pace primarily at which the transactions today happen. We know that digital India in our country is aiding to the pace at which the transactions are happening. Just for an example, if in case I debit my money from ATM, at the same time, this should reflect into my account. Maybe the servers can be in Hyderabad, maybe the servers can be in Tamil Nadu. So this gives a real-time precision, as far as the Indian Standard Time generation is concerned. And this technology primarily helps in giving precision as far as time management is concerned. This will also improve the GPS system, of our country. That the precision time will be very much better going forward. And this is again a self-reliant, technology as far as the Indian Standard Time is concerned. So in that context, the atomic time scale that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to dedicate is very much important, because today time is money. We can say that because the stock market transaction, the money transactions, the GPS monitoring, everything is happening in the real-time basis, and in that context, this lab is very much important. Second is, of course, the Bharatiya Nirdeshak Dravya. Now, this is again an Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, and you can say that this is going to play an important role as far as quality assurance in our country is concerned. Today, there are no fixed. When you try to measure a quality of any kind of product, these Bharatiya Nirdeshak Dravya plays an important role. Now, this is developed in India by India, so that's the proud moment for India as well. So we have to monitor quality of everything today, be it the petroleum product, be it the agriculture sector product, be it anything. We have to measure the quality part. So Bharatiya Nirdeshak Dravya will play an important role, and it plays an important role as well in each and every sector in our country, because quality assurance is a subset of, you can say it's a soul of entire product that is being delivered or manufactured in the country. So it measures everything. The quality is being measured by this Bharatiya Nirdeshak Dravya, and today that is also going to be dedicated to the nation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is again going to inaugurate this Bharatiya Nirdeshak Dravya and will dedicate it to the nation. Last but not the least, it's about the environment laboratory. It will primarily test the quality of the air, the kind of industrial pollution or kind of industrial waste that is happening, that can be monitored in a real-time basis. We know this fact that what is the air quality, how do we measure air quality, how can better air quality parameters can be obtained, because we know this fact that environmental or primarily climate change is something that is on the radar of each and every government all across the world. So these kind of laboratories, the environmental laboratory will play an important role as far as measuring the quality aspect, and of course the environmental changes aspect, and what are the pollution level that is changing or decreasing, so that we can combat the climate change at this this level. This is again a Make in India initiative. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to dedicate or lay the foundation stone for this Earth laboratory, the environment laboratory primarily. And in that context, today is a significant day as far as science and tech innovations and inventions are concerned. You can say that as CSIR NPL enters its 75th Foundation Day, three important initiatives will be dedicated to the nation, and of course the foundation link ceremony will also happen as far as these initiatives are concerned. Preeti?
Right. In addition to these various aspects of moving forward on the path to an Atmanirbhar Bharat, it will also be very wonderful to hear the Prime Minister's address, because India in the fight against the pandemic enters a very crucial stage. Yesterday, two vaccines were also announced as having acquired emergency authorization. So today, his message could also be regarding that step forward.
Absolutely, Rukma. We know this fact, and we are hoping also that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will speak on that line, because the National Metrology Conclave is, again, everything is up. It is about metrology, that means measurement and quality assurance part. So when Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks on this occasion of 75th anniversary of CSIR NPL, which has contributed to science and tech and innovation in our country, his message is very much likely on that lines as well. Because yesterday, we know this fact, Rukma, that various global collaborations were done, various indigenously developed vaccines were in the race, but finally the Atmanirbhar Bharat candidates of the vaccine development part, that was the first to be given approval by DCGI. So the aspect over here is that how Atmanirbhar Bharat is fueling growth in each and every sector of our country. And when we know that the vaccine development has been given the final approval, Prime Minister Narendra Modi yesterday only tweeted about this fact, that how it is a proud moment for a country like India, and of course how it's a proud moment. It's a dedication of the scientists, the researchers, that they have contributed immensely, and that within 1 year of time, a made in India vaccine is again in front of us. So yes, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is very much likely to speak on that aspect as well, as far as the vaccine development part, and what can be his message as far as the various other cold storage infrastructure, how will the mechanism will go into place as far as the vaccine distribution or vaccination part is concerned, because this is India's largest, this is world's largest vaccination drive that entire world is going to witness. So in that context, it is going to be very important address by Prime Minister itself.
All right, Arun, thank you so much for joining us with those inputs. We'll come back to you again when the program begins. Thank you for joining in. So that was our correspondent Anu Sharma spelling out more details on the engagements of the Prime Minister today. We'll keep you updated. Let's get to other news now. After a gap of over 9 months since the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic, educational institutions including schools, colleges, universities, coaching institutes will reopen in Bihar from today. The classes from 9 to 12 standard will commence with 50% strength in order to maintain social distancing in the classrooms. Wearing masks for all school students in the campus has been made mandatory, without which they will not be allowed to enter the premises. All the institutions will have to follow COVID-19 protocols strictly. All right, to talk more about it, our correspondent Salman Haider is joining us. Salman, schools are reopening in Bihar from today onwards, though students from only 9 till 12 standard will be allowed. We've given some aspects of the process of implementation, like wearing a mask and social distancing. You let us know detailed SOPs which have been issued for effective implementation of the precautions when we talk of COVID-19 against the pandemic, and also what all is to be followed on the school premises.
Yes, Preeti and Rukma, very good morning to you. Now the schools are reopening today for the standard 9 to 12. Amid much apprehensions from parents as well as other people, so strict guidelines have been issued, like thermal scanner will be there at the gates of all the schools, and as you said already, 50% of the attendance will be there, and the students have been divided into two groups. One group, if one group comes today, another group will come tomorrow. So soaps and sanitizer, hand sanitizers and masks are being provided to schools. Around 73 lakhs masks are being distributed among the students. These masks have been prepared by the Jivika, a self-help organization of the state livelihood mission. So all the guidelines are in place, and district magistrates have been mandated to supervise all the activities being what the activities are going on in the schools. So all the teachers and students have been sensitized beforehand how they will come and how they will behave while in the schools. So all the things are in place, and let us see what the repercussions can come out with this activity. And on the experimental basis, the phase-wise other classes will open, and as you said, coaching classes have also been open, are being open from today. Yes.
Right, Salman. And while we talk about the reopening, how big a relief it is, it's also a relief not just for students and their parents, but also for school, for the school management, for the school administration as well, and even for teachers, because schools have been, education institutions have been the hardest hit. Have you been able to speak to school administrators and management personnel? How do they feel about whatever has gone so far? How have they been affected?
Actually, Rukma, as far as private schools are concerned, they were facing hardships even because realization of school fee was also very less, and the session has been already been delayed. So there were multi-pronged difficulties they were facing as far as teachers are concerned, school administration itself is concerned, because the online facility, all of them have not access to. So these are the things, even on the part of parents, they were facing difficulty in paying fee, and due to corona they have less income. So there are multi-pronged problems, and with reopening some of these problems are bound to be resolved very soon. So we are hopeful, all the students are hopeful of getting together with their peer group and all that. So the things are becoming positive day by day.
With the new year setting in.
Yes.
Right. Thank you very much, Salman, for joining us there and for all your inputs. Salman Haider there reporting from Bihar about how schools are set to reopen today, the government taking the decision, and a major relief for educational institutions. Meanwhile, in a tragic accident in Ghaziabad in Uttar Pradesh, over 20 people were killed and several others were injured when the roof of a structure in Muradnagar's crematorium collapsed on Sunday. The tragic accident occurred when people coming to attend the last rites of loved ones took shelter following rain under the roof of a structure at the crematorium here. However, the roof suddenly collapsed, under which many people were trapped. The injured have been rushed to hospital. Soon after, NDRF teams were rushed to the accident site for relief and rescue operations. President Ramnath Kovind, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and UP Chief Minister extended condolences for the loss of lives in the accident. Ordering a probe, the Uttar Pradesh government has asked the administration to submit a report in this regard. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has assured all possible help to the victims. He also announced ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees to the kin of the deceased. Meanwhile, an FIR has been registered against several people, including Muradnagar Municipality EO.
In Kerala, 7 persons were killed when a bus fell on the top of a house at Panathur Sulia Road in Pariyaram in Kasaragod district on Sunday. The bus was carrying over 60 members of a wedding party from Sulia, Karnataka. 8 persons have been injured seriously and were admitted to the hospital in Pariyaram. Also, the district collector has issued an order to conduct an inquiry into the incident.
And in Karnataka, again, the first train route to the Kempegowda International Airport from Bengaluru starts functioning from today. With this, commuters will get the first non-road, fast alternative to reach the airport. 3 new pairs of trains will operate between railway stations in Bengaluru and the newly built Kempegowda International Airport, Devanahalli Halt Station. A total of 5 trains will run between the city and the airport hall station for the next few months. Railway Minister Piyush Goyal in a tweet said this will go a long way towards enhancing last-mile connectivity to Bengaluru Airport. He said this will also benefit lakhs of people and reduce the traffic congestion drastically.
And in some good news, in the year 2020, the digital channels of Prasar Bharati across Doordarshan and Akashvani have registered more than 100% growth, clocking over 1 billion digital views and over 6 billion digital watch minutes. During 2020, News on AIR app added more than 2.5 million users, with the platform registering over 300 million views, with live radio streaming featuring over 200 streams being most popular feature. Keeping company with DD National and DD News, in the top 10 digital channels of Prasar Bharati are Marathi News from DD Sayatri, Kannada programming on DD Chandana, Bangla News from DD Bangla and Telugu programming on DD Saptagiri. While DD Sports and Akashvani Sports have created a steady digital following with live commentary, Prasar Bharati Archives and DD Kisan have been steady digital performance.
These days, the Rashtriya Rifles battalions in Rajouri and Riyasi are organizing medical and veterinary camps for the Gujar and Bakarwal population there. Our correspondent Nandita Dagar reports.
We are at a place called Lunitraman. This is a part of Rajouri district, and although Rajouri is a bordering district, this place is not. It is actually 50 to 60 kilometers from the line of control with Pakistan occupied Kashmir. But what is significant is that over there, these are the Pir Panjal ranges, and this place called Badhal Ki Gali, which is very, very adjacent to these Pir Panjal ranges, was a route for the Pakistani-backed terrorists to cross over into the Kashmir Valley from this place using passes during the summers, and that is why to win over the hearts and minds of the population here was very, very critical for the army. As you can see, women and children, they are all availing the facilities that they are getting here. There is free clothing which is being distributed by an NGO which has been organized by the army. Also a dispensary where free medicines are being given, protection against the coronavirus, which includes a sanitizer, a few tablets and soaps, etc. Other hygiene products are also being distributed to the women and children. A veterinary camp in progress over there. The majority of the population of this area, which is mostly Gujars and Bakarwals, these are nomadic shepherding communities. They have goats, sheep, mules, horses, and it is in these remote areas which are not even connected by very good roads. It is very important that these animals, they are taken care of.
मैं घोड़ा लेकर आया था और अपनी माता को लेकर आया था. माता की आंखों को दर्द था, ऐसे जिस्म में दर्द रहता है. तो फौज वालों ने बहुत मदद की है, दवाई दी है, घोड़े को भी दवाई दी है.
With camera person Smriti Ranjan Mahapatra in Lunitraman in Rajouri, this is Nandita Dagar for DD News.
And let's get you an update on the cold wave conditions. Severe cold wave has been sweeping across North India for the past few weeks. Northeast and southwest oriented cloud clusters have shifted eastwards, giving slight relief from rain over Haryana, northeast Rajasthan and Delhi. However, the Met Department has predicted thunderstorm, lightning and hailstorm in parts of Delhi, northeast Rajasthan, Haryana and adjoining parts of West Uttar Pradesh during the next 2 hours. Visibility was also reduced in Delhi due to fog this morning. Currently, the western disturbance lies over central Pakistan and a trough extends in lower levels from North Punjab to northeast Arabian Sea.
And as we were telling you in our headlines itself, a tragedy in Nigeria as 2 villages suffer a terror attack. All that and more in our next segment, Across the Globe.
Yes.
In international news, in Niger, over 100 people were killed and 20 others were injured in gruesome attacks on 2 villages in western Niger. Prime Minister of Nigeria, Brigi Rafini, has said that the day was one of the deadliest in recent memory for the country. Rafini also announced that over 70 people were killed in the village of Chombango and 30 others in the village of Zarumdare. However, no terror group has claimed responsibility. Meanwhile, the attack came on the same day election officials announced results for the first round of Niger's presidential vote that put ruling party candidate and former government minister Mohamed Bazoum in a clear lead.
In the United States, the 117th Congress convened on Sunday with the swearing in of newly elected and returning senators. Newly elected senators include Tennessee Republican Bill Hagerty, Colorado Democrat John Hickenlooper, New Mexico Democrat Ben Ray Lejeune, among others. The Senate will reconvene on Wednesday. Nancy Pelosi was narrowly re-elected as the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives amidst political uncertainty, with Senate control undecided and a Republican fight looming over presidential election results. The House voted 216 to 209 to reinstate Pelosi after Democrats lost 11 seats in the November elections to command a narrower 222 to 212 majority. 5 Democrats chose not to support her, of which 2 voted for Democratic lawmakers who were not running, while 3 others simply voted present. After being re-elected, Pelosi said in a floor speech that the most urgent priority will continue to be defeating COVID-19.
And now for updates on the COVID-19 situation from across the world. As of now, over 8 crore 54 lakh cases have been reported worldwide, with over 18 lakh 50,000 deaths. Over 6 crore patients have already recovered from the virus. The US continues to remain the worst hit by the pandemic so far, crossing the 2 crore mark. The US has reported over 2 crore 11 lakh cases of the virus, with the death toll surging past 3 lakh 60,000.
Top U.S. infectious diseases expert Anthony Fauci has warned that the mutated strain of COVID-19 was in the U.S. and will spread. He recommended that COVID-19 vaccines should be led by science administered in the U.S. the way clinical trials have been instructed us to do it. The cases found in individuals who have not had recently traveled showed the likely community spread of the variant from person to person in the country. Meanwhile, California has become a leading U.S. flashpoint of the pandemic, despite some of the nation's toughest restrictions on social gatherings and business activities.
And German police chased day trippers off the slopes of a closed ski resort on Sunday after hundreds of people flocked to Winterberg, east of Dusseldorf, defying appeals from authorities to stay home and respect coronavirus lockdown restrictions. Earlier in the day, police had sought to block access to the shut downtown in an attempt to enforce strict regulations in place across the country since the 16th of December. Winterberg saw a rush of thousands of people in recent days, which led to traffic jams, overcrowded parking lots, and several breaches of anti-COVID-19 regulations. Germany is likely to extend a national lockdown beyond January 10th to curb coronavirus infection rates that are still running high and putting huge strains on hospitals and health workers, politicians said at the weekend.
Latin American countries reported over 1.3 crore confirmed COVID-19 cases as on Sunday, with the caseload in Brazil, worst hit country in the region, nearing 77 lakh. The state of Sao Paulo, the most populous in the country, had registered at over 46,000 cases, followed by Rio de Janeiro with over 25,000 deaths. In Sao Paulo, the government has announced entering the red phase in force, which only allowed essential commercial activities to operate. Argentina registered 5,884 new cases on Sunday to add up national count to 16.4 lakh. The Argentine government has extended mandatory social distancing measures until January 31st. Also, the Colombian government has extended the health emergency until February 28th, urging people to avoid crowds and observe measures to curb the spread of the virus.
And to find out what's trending on the web and on social media, we take a look at our next segment, the Web News Review.
And to get us what all has been put forth in different web portals on social media, our correspondent and colleague Nancy is joining us. Nancy, good morning. Let us know what headlines have you picked up for us this morning.
Morning, Preeti and Rukma. Yes, let's take a look at what's really trending on the web. And of course, as the approval for the vaccines has come in. In fact, this is the ICMR chief there speaking on Covaxin and mutant strain. And in fact, he's saying Bharat Biotech vaccine may have some advantages. So he's in fact said that the Bharat Biotech vaccine may have some advantages over other vaccines on the new mutant strain that was first detected in the UK, which has already in fact infected 29 patients in India. And in fact, just to give you more background as to the ICMR has collaborated with Bharat Biotech to develop the vaccine, and Pune's NIV is another partner of this indigenous vaccine project. Remember, of course, Covaxin is a whole wherein inactivated COVID-19 vaccine, while Oxford vaccine works differently. It produces surface spike protein, priming the immune system to attack the SARS-CoV-2 virus if it later infects the body. Moving on now, this is a very good and informative FAQ being carried by the Times of India. There, the questions that, of course, people across the country may have. Am I eligible for COVID vaccine, and when will I get it? So all these questions answered here in this Times of India column. Questions like who will get vaccinated first? Of course, healthcare, frontline workers, people over 50 and those under 50 with comorbidities. And is a vaccine must? No, but it's highly recommended. How many doses will I get? 2 doses, 28 days apart. And another important questions like when will the antibodies develop, and how really the registration is going to be so very important. So one must go through this FAQ to have more information as far as the COVID vaccine is concerned. All the basic and important FAQs answered there in this column by the Times of India. All right, moving on now to some news from the financial front. Well, Operation Cleanup, 1 lakh crore rupees of disputed tax to be settled as Vivad Se Vishwas scheme clicks. Now, this was a massive cleanup of the legacy issues where nearly 1/5 of about 5 lakh entities had logged in tax litigation with the government have opted for a dispute redressal scheme, helping settle around 83,000 crore rupees of contested amount there. And the finance minister in her budget for fiscal starting April 2020, remember, had announced the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme to settle the pending disputes relating to direct taxes. And this was in fact an attempt to release 9.32 lakh crore rupees blocked in approximately 4.8 lakh appeals pending at the various appellate fora. And well, in some other news and a great news, in fact, digital channels of Prasar Bharati record 100% growth this year. So the digital channels of state broadcaster Prasar Bharati across Doordarshan and Akashwani have registered more than 100% growth in 2020, clocking over 1 billion digital views and over 6 billion digital watch minutes. And during the year, the News on Air app has added more than 2.5 million users, with the platform registering over 300 million views. Also, the live radio streaming with over 200 streams emerged as the most popular feature. All right, moving on now to Hindustan Times, and as the oath taking there in the US is just getting closer, so this is really an explainer on how what may happen on the 6th of January as Trump's allies prepare to overturn the electoral college results. Well, just this is in fact about how apart from at least 140 House Republicans, they're reportedly preparing to overturn the US election results. A coalition of 11 Republican senators led by Ted Cruz has announced its plan to reject electors from some states when Congress meets on the 6th of January to formally certify the Electoral College and President-elect Joe Biden's victory. In a joint statement, the senators claimed that the 2020 presidential elections featured unprecedented allegations of voter fraud and other voting irregularities. All right, moving on now, getting you some weather updates, and this is forecast by the Met Department. The intense wet spell to continue over North India till the 5th of January with a fairly widespread precipitation accompanied with thunderstorm, lightning and hailstorm at the isolated places. And the activities will peak on Sunday and Monday over the plains, Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Delhi, West Uttar Pradesh and North Rajasthan. And on Monday over the western Himalayan region, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Gilgit-Baltistan, Muzaffarabad, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand.
All right, so that was Nancy with a web review this morning. Up next, we get to the health segment, wherein we get you one health tip every day to make sure you remain in good health and spirits. For many people with diabetes, as the temperature drops, blood sugar goes up. TD News spoke to Dr. Ashok Jhingan about the precautions that could keep diabetics in check during the winter months. Take a look.
Diabetes is a medical condition that demands for extra attention during the colder months. How to ensure winter safety for diabetics? Let's find out from Dr. Ashok Jhingan. Dr. Jhingan, how does cold wave and the low temperatures affect the health of people living with diabetes?
In winter, diabetic patients, they face a lot of problems because of a neuropathy and less blood supply to their foot. They have a numbness, pain and tingling sensation. They cannot cover their foot with the blanket in the night. Not only that, because of the less blood supply, the foot is always cold. And to get rid of that, they always keep the hot water bottle or keep their foot in front of the heater or a fire, and that's why they get burned, because there are less sensations. The skin is dry, it can lead to the ulcers, and because there is a less moisturization because of the nerve supply. In winter, diabetic patients' blood sugar levels are always high because there is a less exercise, and the food is also they are consuming, and this is a comfortable food. In the winter, these diabetic patients do get a flu and cold attacks quite frequently. Not only that, in diabetic patients, the blood sugar levels, they are always high. If we do HbA1c, this will be very high. And this is because glucometers may not show the proper reading because of the extreme cold. And the insulins also, if they get frozen, they will not be very effective.
What precautions will help the people living with diabetes to be safe during winters?
In winter, the diabetic patient has to take certain precautions, especially about the foot. They should keep it warm by means of a proper socks and a proper shoe. At the same time, they should keep it moisturized by means of certain lotions. They should not keep it dry. They should not warm the foot in front of the heater or in front of the fire or by the hot water bag, because it will burn it. They should do a regular exercise. Their food should have a less fried items and it should have a less calories, but they should have plenty of fruits and nuts. They must have a shots of a flu and pneumonia vaccines, because this will prevent them from the flu and the pneumonia. Last but not the least, very important is to keep their sugar instruments and the insulins in a proper temperature, because in extreme exposure to the cold, the insulin become less potent and it will not be very effective, especially if it gets frozen, then it will not be effective. And at the same time, strips and glucometers should also be kept in a proper temperature, then only they will show the proper reading.
Healthy diet, being physically active, and avoiding exposure to cold are the golden rules for diabetics to be safe and secure during winters. Kiran Bhardwaj, DD News.
Alright, so those were the words of advice for diabetics this morning.
And it's the 4th of January today. Let's take a look at all the events that made this day special in history.
All right, we'll get you that history segment in a short while from now. In the meanwhile, let's get you the We Care segment, wherein we get you something special, some report which has that feel-good factor attached to it that I'm sure stays on with you for the rest of the day.
Well, it's still winter now, and as the winter's chill, it appears, is seeming to set in deeper and deeper. The IMD also predicting wet days ahead.
Yes, we'll get you more on that also in the weather report in a short while from now. But at present, let's get you more on IFFI, that is to be scheduled from 16th of January in the segment We Care. The 51st International Film Festival of India will open on 16 January 2021 with the Indian premiere of the movie Another Round by Thomas Winterberg. The movie, starring Cannes Best Actor Award winner Mads Mikkelsen, is among a star-studded lineup of movies being showcased at IFFI. The movie is also Denmark's official entry to the Oscars. The festival will also witness the world premiere of Mehrunissa. The film by Sandeep Kumar will premiere mid-fest. Starring formidable actor Farooq Jafar, the movie narrates the story of a woman's lifelong dream. The festival will close on 24th of January with India premiere of the historical drama Wife of a Spy by Kiyoshi Kurosawa. The Japanese film bagged Silver Lion for Best Director at Venice International Film Festival. 51st IFFI is being organized from 16th to 24th January in Goa. Now, this edition is being organized in a hybrid mode for the first time and will comprise of both online and in-person experience. The festival will be loaded with a lineup of famous movies with a total of 224 films from across the globe being screened. Now, this includes 21 non-feature films and 26 feature films under the Indian Panorama Films section. Registration for the virtual segment of the first hybrid IFFI is now open. 51st edition of IFFI is being organized in hybrid format and will comprise of both virtual and physical segments.
And time now to take a look at today's weather report and forecast. An
active western disturbance lies as a middle and upper level cyclonic circulation over central Pakistan and neighborhood, with its induced cyclonic circulation over southwest Rajasthan and neighborhood at lower levels. Also, when we talk of the weather conditions, fairly widespread to widespread precipitation accompanied with thunderstorm, lightning and hailstorm at isolated places over northwest India are expected till late night of 5th January. And also over areas of Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh and Delhi, West Uttar Pradesh and North Rajasthan.
And now it's time to take a look at temperatures recorded across major cities and towns in the country.
Alright, so that was the weather report.
We've come to the end of this edition of Breakfast News. And as always, we leave you with glimpses to make your day all that much better as it kicks off. Today, we bring you these glimpses in which we remember renowned musician and legend R.D. Burman, popularly known as Pancham Da, on his 27th death anniversary. We pay our heartiest tributes to Pancham Da, recalling some of his evergreen songs which he composed back in the day.
Before we get to those songs, very quickly a quick reminder of all of you to be part of the Mask Up India initiative which we're running on DD India and DD News. Remember, this is the best and the most cost-effective way to keep yourself safe against COVID-19. With that, we'll take your leave. Bye-bye.
ओ मेरे दिल के चैन आए मेरे दिल को